Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Wargame 1 versus 1. Unranked for once, but not against balanced. So there's that. We're playing against Sarto, as you can see. He's playing, I believe it was Yuriko motorized. He had the deck selected when I joined the lobby, and I don't think he changed it. We are playing Landjut, as you probably saw in the title. I'm not 100% certain how I will want to completely set up the deck. You know, I haven't played this a lot. Last time I played with someone else's version of the deck that had two cards of HS30s, but I couldn't put in a second card of it, so I wasn't sure. Maybe I should replace the Centurion with it, since two cards of HS30s effectively act as fire support, and the role of the Centurion is mostly fire support. And since I have the Martyr 2, I don't necessarily need it to kill other IFVs, but I also just want to give this more of a chance, because the decks that have access to it, I feel like I rarely get the chance to like actually use it. You know, Commonwealth also has access to this in form of Canada and ANZAC, I believe. I don't think the Brits have the 25-point Centurion, and in that scenario you have Commandos 90, so you don't necessarily need as much fire support. And even if you need, you have AVREs and M41A1s. So yeah. And when it comes to Scandi, they don't really need cheap fire support as much at all. You have CV90s, which is really all you need most of the times, and the beacon, of course. So there's also not a lot of chances to run this, and usually you also just can't spare the activation points on top of that. So like I said, I just want to give this more of a chance, because I feel like this is a bit of underrated unit, but maybe not so much underrated as it is just one of these many units that are perfectly fine, but there's just rarely a situation where you can afford to put it into your deck, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because people often like to act that Wargame has 90% useless units, which isn't correct. I think just a lot of units are just perfectly fine. It's just hard to fit them into your deck or to build a deck around. But enough of that. I think other than that, the deck is fairly standard. Dragoner spam, of course. I'm only gonna run one card, and with the availability bonus, I do get 23 per card, so that should be enough. Other than that, I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary, really. I'm running these instead of the Fennec Tattoo because I have the Recon Tiger, of course. Yeah, I think this is a fairly standard deck. Of course, heavy artillery is a huge weakness. No, it's not necessarily a weakness, it's just as in like you can perfectly play a deck without it, but the heavy artillery that Landjut has access to is just bad. And we just spent 3 minutes just talking and not doing anything. So, against Yuriko Motorized, this is a good map for Yuriko Motorized, a very good map, I'd say. I think Yuriko Motorized probably even prefers this side that Sar has. I think in the opener in Foxtrot and Bravo, you can do a lot more with the motorized push than you can from my side. And of course, with motorized, especially Yuriko motorized, doing a heavy delta push is not very good. You don't get the LRM, and the infantry is not nearly as effective or spammable as if you're playing mech. So that's why I think, while this side is usually considered worse, I think for Yuriko motor or motorized decks, but mostly Yuriko motorized in this scenario, of course, I think this side might actually be favorable. So what is our plan? I think we are going to go for this. Like I said, he doesn't have access to heavy artillery. He may have like M1. He does have the Cesar, I guess. But the Cesar isn't a huge issue. It's nice and all, but it's not really a game changer like an LRM could be. So I think I'm not gonna spend many points in there because I expect him to push there. Just gonna get like... He might start with a Tiger, in which case, sure, whatever. But I'm just gonna play defensively, send some stuff there in case he doesn't push there, but since he most likely will push there, you know, I'm just gonna go there with the expectation to actually simply lose the units that I have. On the right side, I'm gonna try to drop a Liagar in 90 squad and hope that it'll work out. This get an... I think I'm going to get an automatic, yes. 2 1s, Centurion spam, Dragoner spam. And of course, if it ends up being that he pushes here and is very light here, I'm just gonna reroute these units for mid. Lux is probably not a very good unit in this matchup at all, so I'm not gonna bother too much with that. It's maybe a bit awkward. I also don't have a mortar, but screw this and get a mortar. Actually, no, I'll screw you and get the mortar. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but whatever. Let's do this. We also only have one CV, but I wouldn't be surprised if he runs it with the fob. So I don't think I wouldn't be surprised if he also only starts with one CV. In which case, we will not be in a situation where we have to get a second CV very quickly, which is good. This one we're actually gonna unload here, since, like I said, I expect him to push there, and then he might try to push into alpha from this, or at the very least harass me. So these Milan and this building will be an insurance, if you want to call it like that. We're gonna drive in here for now. Instead, that's a Gaza cannon. A Fennec should easily win against that. Much better autocannon. There's a lot of stuff. Lots of foxes, Vabs. No AMX-10s, so it doesn't look like he's pushing there, which is good for me. No, there's AMX-10. Right, I didn't spot it yet because of the stealth. Still, it doesn't look like he's pushing. Oh, that's Cassiope. I hate Cassiopes. I think... Ooh, I might get lucky here. Oh no, it's a cannon. Right, that's a Prima Pirate. Not a Cassiope. That's why I didn't do anything. Or had such troubles doing anything. Let's actually do get the second CV ASAP, but whoops, you're a bit too far up. But yeah, it does look like that he is not pushing there. Alright, let's also not forget some base defense, because you never know. Spotted there, it's very bad. Oh, now they're out in the open because they're stunned and they're not moving. Is it a Cesar? It is, alright. Mario to kill the MX-10 there. Important, let's get a Gephardt in like this area, because currently the automatics are only AAPs. And these Commander Marines are absolutely shrekking those Grenadiers. We definitely need those Centurions to move up and give fire support. Let's get some Lift Garden for the better... No, let's get some... Let's get 2 squads of Fallschirmjäger 90 to push into the town. Damn, for once the Leopard actually, or the tank, turned on its own to not show side armor. Did you see that? I hope you saw that. So the Milan are spotted by the Commander's Para in the town, I would expect. The nice thing about these is you will need 23 AP to one-shot them, which is an Apellas, but he doesn't have access to Apellas. Eurocar Apellas are only in Marines. That is very nice for us. He doesn't have a second CV still, so I'm pretty sure he does have a fob. Knock this off. Definitely would like to snipe the reinforcement. What's that? It's more Commander Marines. Nice smoke. Coming in clutch. Get a Tiger. I wouldn't be surprised if he's very, very light on AA. That's probably an AMX 10 with 16 AP. That was a fast vehicle aiming at my Leopard 2. Aiming means it can penetrate it. It could have been an AMX 10 recon version as well. With only 7 side armor, I think 11 AP of the recon AMX 10 is obviously enough. Still, we're in a very good position, of course. And I believe there are no AMX 10s here and also no ATGMs in this town, so we should have no trouble getting into the town with our Fallschirmjäger. Yeah, that opener didn't go very well. I believe he's trying some stuff with the commandos, Commando Marines, which clearly didn't work out. Okay, in the town there, that's a peace run. Is that a seed? That is seed. Whew. He turned in a bit too early. And I noticed that my automatic was suddenly spotted, so this means this can only be seed. Probably turn off my Gepard over there. Yeah, this is not looking very good for him at all. The Commander Marines had very much trouble dealing with my heavier vehicles. And they are very expensive, these Commandos Para. They cost 35 points, a single squad, just as much as my Fallschirmjäger 90. 15 points the VAB T20. That's 50 points a squad. Meanwhile, I can get 3 squads of Dragoner for the same price. I will have 5 pointers as well with 2 front armor and a Browning. Of course, the 2 front armor won't matter too much against 19 AP. Still though. Runs with FOB, so I can't resupply this, but it's no issue. Tiger kinda unnecessary here, so I don't want to be too aggressive in case he does have a Crotal back there or something that he started with. Would of course be the case, and I don't really want to. No. I don't want to lose my Tiger or some stupid stuff like that. We can snipe the cannon here though. No problems, I'd imagine. Ones are perfectly fine. Let's get a Scout Defender because he might think that he will have to push on this side. So let's get some Centurions. Centurion's actually gonna be amazing against this deck, I just realized. Because yeah, the only AT obviously, like I said, that can one-shot it is 23 armor AP or more, and the only he gets Fallschirmjäger 90 as well, of course, and Legion 90. I think those are the only 2 squads in his deck, except for, of course, ATGM Milans, that can actually one-shot the Centurions. So at closer ranges, they're gonna be amazing, and they also have enough armor to withstand a couple of shots from the Recon AMX 10. Tank type AMX 10 as well, but not so much there. And at 25 points, they're also cheaper. They're also gonna be good fire support with 8 RPM and the Browning. The main issue is just the off-road speed, as you may have noticed earlier, when I wanted to support my Dragoner, that it took quite a while until they actually caught up. Base Legion, I guess for some cheap-ish shock infantry. Not gonna be too great for assaulting though. Instead. The thing with Euro Commodores is their bad fire support is even worse most of the time. You don't get IFVs. You still get the AMX 10 and the AMX 13 in the recon type, which is fine, but you also don't get any cheap infantry. The cheapest thing you can get is 20 points for base chasseur, and that's just horrible. So, you know, motor decks are obviously already very opener focused, but I think on Euro Commodores this is even more important than before. However, on you know, other side of the coin is the already kind of ridiculous opener of Eurocore is even more ridiculous now. while it is more important, it's also more stronger. You know, I know more stronger isn't the term, but you get the point. But I guess he will try to drag. I don't think this works. On the one hand, you know, the Cesar gives him some late or long game advantage, you know, some longer lasting advantage, you know, where he can invest and get a lot of value out of it over time, which on the one hand, you know, kind of offsets the weakness that especially Eureka Motorized has, where they kind of fizzle out in the long game, where they, you know, the longer the game goes on, the weaker they get usually. Unless they're already ahead. Yurko is a good deck that has a lot of win more units. Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Damn, nearly killed my Fuchs Fifu. Maybe I should not leave them in the open. But like I said, yeah. Maybe he's trying to offset the weakness that Yuriko and even more so Yuriko Motorized has, where the longer the game goes on, the weaker they get. But on the other hand, this also makes the opener a lot weaker, having to start with the fob, although you could argue that he has to start with the fob anyways, if he uses the Tiger heavily, but I think getting the Cesar so early did not pay off. Because Tube Artillery, even the beacon is kind of an exception, but that goes even for the beacon. They just take a while, and I think I said it in the Scandinavian gameplay video as well, the ranked match. They just take a while until you know you get the value out of them, the 120 points. And even once you get the 120 points out of them, you're not gonna suddenly immediately notice the impact. You know, that's something that takes a while, and it actually, oh my god, they're just getting destroyed. They're just getting absolutely demolished. I mean, yeah, you just don't do that. I definitely will have to have infantry in these buildings. Also get some of these here. If you invest in units, in the expensive units, you can't just get this. Usually it's not enough to just get the same point value out of them. You know, of course, if you buy a peace shrine and you snipe a 20-point tank that, or like a 30-point tank that otherwise would have, I don't know, killed like your 200 points worth of AA and support units because they can't defend themselves, obviously that is worth it, even if you lose the AT Champlain for that. But what I mean is that in many situations, even if he buys a peace shrine and kills a Leopard 2A1 with it, that isn't necessarily immediately, you know, worth doing, because while he does that, the 100 points means that those are not unit points on ground units, and in the long run, ground units is what he needs. And the Star, even if he killed like my CV here or something with it, that he's still in a horrible position, right? So that's why these tube artillery pieces. In my opinion, you should generally not buy when you're in a situation like him. I guess the time he bought it, he probably wasn't as bad in the situation, because it was, I think, like basically in the middle of the opener. But still, you could see, like, that it wasn't worth doing. Also, I should reinforce this and talk less. As soon as I try to explain something that goes further than 2 sentences, I'll start just floating points and not doing anything. Just more of these. Let's move our 2. The 2 wants to, oh god. Okay, now I see where he spent his points. Pull these back in. Oh, those are Mistral. Oh, currently the Horus is blocking line of sight? Yeah, it is. No, it's not because the tiger is flying away. No, it's dice, yeah. There was... Please be fast enough, automatic, please! Yes, it's fast enough to block line of sight. I should probably buy an ASF early to counter the seed plane that'll probably pop up any moment. What are you shooting at? Okay. Oh, even the heart, perfect. Oh, it died to the... I didn't even realize that it died to the... Yep, no, okay. I didn't even realize that it died to the... Fine, let's buy the KWS instead of the automatic. I'm gonna fly over his Mistral, but I don't think he has much more AA. He does. You guys see, I think it probably was a Roland. I didn't fully pay attention. I was too far zoomed out. Was it an MX-10 or just a VAB? It was just VAB. But yeah, even, I mean, you can see, you know, it was a very expensive push, but not a lot of units. And also no like cheap fodder units, because that's just not something that Euro Commodized really has access to. It's the MX-10P Milan, right? Or just the MX Hot? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it's the Milan. Yeah, right, of course. Autocannon can't penetrate it. MX-10P Milan, I think I've mentioned it before, but I'm just gonna mention it again. One of the few, if not the only, non-DLC unit that can actually fire autocannon and an ATGM at the same time. Obviously at 25 points with the base Milan, and you know, that's not really very... That's probably the... It definitely doesn't make it OP, and it's probably the only reason why it's actually somewhat half decent. I think without that trade bug, inconsistency, whatever you want to call it, it would probably not really be worth running. Yeah. Yeah, but this is clearly not looking very good for Tsar. I wonder if this is also the deck where he's running 2 FOBs, because that might also even more explain his weak opener. Because he did earlier mention something in a Discord with like, oh, I'm experimenting with 2 FOBs, so I'm wondering if this is the deck. In which case, I'm just shaking my head. I mean, props to him, he really likes to experiment a lot, and sometimes discovers a few little things. More often than not, he does not. I think he still kind of swears on the Razzmann with the exceptional optics, but I think he stopped using that because he did realize that it is in fact very bad. But every now and then he does actually, you know, find like a certainly not OP, but potentially underutilized or underplayed little unit or unit combination. So you know. Those are Commander Marines, they're gonna be a tough time for a Fallschirmjäger, considering that one squad of them is panicked and they're both damaged. Rip my Fallschirmjäger. That's again, I think this is probably obvious to many of you, but this is one of the reasons why running Fallschirmjäger or special forces that aren't like LSTR, which fill multiple roles. You know, LSTR are very important to the AA net of Istanbul, for example. That don't fulfill many roles or several roles, are just not worth running, because, like as you saw there, they die just as fast to Panthers than Dragoners do, right? And fire support being a very big part of the meta nowadays for most meta decks, that obviously means that there's a lot of infantry counters that you run into that are fire support and that don't give a shit if your infantry is elite or regular or trained or whatnot. Regular and trained is the same thing. Trained is the veterancy, not the training. It's peace run. Yeah, it is. I'm floating way too many points again. There's the automatic. For a second I thought he spotted it, in which case I would have been very mad. Gets out with 4 HP. Run around some Marder 2s, they should be very annoying for him. Oh, there's a Ronin back indeed. Damn, none of them was hit. And I think the other Mr. Squad are actually killed. Alright, let's actually buy just a 3-stack of mortars, be annoying to him, and just set this forest on fire. You know, we're gonna keep you just for smokes. I don't want to use them all for fire support and then accidentally run out. So, did they just kill? Because they're spotted currently. I think they just killed the squad, yeah. I was just noticing the scout defenders out of ammo. These were spotted, but now they're not spotted anymore. So I assume that they killed the squad that was here, which... Mando's para maybe? Something along those lines, probably. Probably not bunch up everything here, considering he does have a SSR. Also using a lot of mortars, so yeah, I mean he is clearly running the long game, but like I said, in my opinion this doesn't suit motorized, but I guess you could make the argument that you're just trying to, you know, counteract that problem. Yeah, there's a pirate that I was just wondering, because you saw me checking the veterancy on this and the ammo to see if it shot down something, because I was just wondering if those were Commander's Para, there must be a Puma pirate nearby, and there it just was. But I guess, you know, maybe he's just trying to offset said weakness, but at the same time he trades off the massive strength that he has, which is the opener. Yeah, there's no need for me to push, and I think pushing here is just suicidal. With his at least one SSR, but I think 2. There's just no point in doing that, really. Run you back and get it. Let's just get another automatic. Evac you, because at this low fuel you're not gonna do much anyways, so you might as well. He did kill a fucking martyr with this artillery. Damn, dude. Oh, this is just... Hey! Oh, this is not good at all. This means that there's probably a Commander's Para squad somewhere there. Although this could have been the pirate that was in the opener here, although I think I actually killed it with the automatic, the very first automatic that I had. So I'm really not too sure. But I'd rather not take chances. Yeah, go kill the Lynx, I don't care. It's gonna unload you now. A seed. Did it? Oh, probably so. I was wondering what I lost the thing to. Get her Marder 2s. Once again lost my kid up, yes, very unfortunate. What the fuck? Did you just see that effect that usually gets, or like a lot of the units got damaged, or was I just imagining shit? Right, so he did buy a CV there, which is interesting. And a mortar in here. I think that's a Milan 1 squad shooting at my leopard. It's actually. Oh, he tried to stun my automatic and then kill it with the panther, but he was a bit too early with the panther. Panther. And also way too aggressive with this. Could have easily worked out though for him. Starting to run low on planes because they all get killed. Can you please get into the building there? Don't not give them an attack move so they don't accidentally shoot at a helicopter instead of the. I did manage to kill it. Okay. Get some more recon. It's a BAB T20. Go shoot at those commanders, Para. Did I buy more mortars? I did not. Okay. They're spotted. Killing his supply trucks is actually somewhat important because he does have a fob, so you can resupply them and refill them once they're empty. So it's not like I'm only doing this for shits and giggles. Oh, he's finally going for those Spader now. Although they didn't really spot much. But considering that I haven't seen anything drive down here, I'm wondering if he shifted his focus on this side. So let's move you up a bit to see if there's shit driving down that side. It's a VAB, but it's probably standing there since the start of the game effectively. Another VAB. Also MG version, no autocannon, yeah. Yeah, where's units? There's maybe he's driving down them here into the forest and that's why I can't spot them. Could also be the case, of course. Yeah, I line of sight breaks in roughly here. Yo, those are actually Milan 2, not Milan 1. Guess I can turn you on, he knows they're there, so I might as well shoot. Another tiger. He's kind of shooting himself in the foot here, I think. Doesn't he have commandos power here? Yeah, there they are. Oh, that's seed and EDGM. Forgot that I didn't kill a seed. Although I think I did even mention it earlier that I know very well that he didn't. That I didn't kill the seed, but sometimes when in the back of my head I'm like, alright, he just brought out the seed. The seed fired 2 missiles, and seed missiles take ages to reload. So that my brain automatically makes it to think like, oh, he's never gonna bring his seed out again because it's gonna reload for so long. But yeah, it's just by the MLU. The tiger, not the tiger, the peace shrine does reload fairly fast, so we should bring it out in a bit. I'm just gonna buy it now before I get tempted to buy something else instead. Although maybe I should buy just more automatics, but whatever. Fire at these. And it does have 2.5 minutes, so it's actually not too bad. I'm just still gonna wait just a bit. Nice AMX-10, by the way. Let's bring you out. Since he did some sneaky shit, let's also do some sneaky shit. I don't know where this drives to. Driving into that forest, so let's shoot in there. Not gonna lie, his pushes here were very annoying, but let's be real here, they were never really a huge threat. He did get into this town once, but even then I was never really very concerned because I knew that he couldn't hold it very long. And I didn't even need indirect fire support for that. It was his hold was so light and I had fire support around. Alright, stop you here, you're at a good range there. Oh, let's kill the cannon and then just retreat. There's a peace run. Turn you off because I don't know if... Go for the juicy martyr tool. Isn't it a nice target to go for? I don't know why I turned it off. I hit none of... For reference, my MLU was on elite. It was on elite and it hit none of the 2 missiles. I wasn't... Like, I wasn't surprised to see that I didn't kill it, you know? Hitting 2 missiles even though they're on elite and the peace run only has 20% ECM. That's not all too likely. That's not too unlikely that I don't kill it. You know, I'm not mad about that at all. What I am mad about is that I didn't hit him once. As I was expecting that even if I didn't kill him, then sure, the automatic can probably finish it, right? But apparently no. And there are those commandos para. That's sometimes that's actually a mistake that I see very often. I'm genuinely surprised to see it from Sarto. These Puma pirates and other transports, when you send them around in these areas, like at flanks, behind CVs or behind commonly used CV spots, and the enemy spots that the enemy will, or at least should, if they're somewhat decent, automatically suspect, oh shit, there might be infantry sneaking around, and that's exactly what I did. That's why I bought those Jaeger 90. So that's why you either just simply shouldn't send shit like that around, or do it together with your infantry. Like, wait for the commander's power to be there and then do it at the same time, so by the time they react with new units to the Puma pirate, the commander's power is already next to the CV, so it's too late anyways. But either don't send a CV or like the transport and just keep it behind, or send it together. Or I guess you could just send it afterwards, after you like pushed up with the infantry to the CV. Well, I killed his helicopter and his CV in there. Nice CV, buddy. Mancat 1. It's actually not Mancati. It's actually 1 and not an I. Genuinely took me 4 years or something to realize. There we go. Honestly, KD was a bit misleading. I think I was like, I'm not trying to be rude here at all. Sarah's a good player. But I think it was clear that game was mine. It was my game to lose the whole game, really. And towards the end, when I was rambling on about useless information, I often just floated units and just I'm just gonna buy a 4 stack of Dragoner or a 3 stack of Panzergrants and another 2 for the front line and unload them way too late. Don't bother microing. Don't bother splitting the infantry. I think you saw that I was just very complacent at the end there, which is usually what happens when I'm in such a situation. And sometimes this causes me to lose games, most notably versus Putin. I just want to quickly take a look at when he started with 2 fobs. Or what he started with and when he bought his SSR. He does have 1 fob. Please don't tell me you have... Oh my god. I mean, Putin also ran 2 fobs in a ranked deck, at least for a while. I'm not sure if he still does it, and that was for Israel. And for Israel, I can somewhat understand it. Mark 90, the spikes are very, very expensive, and I think he had even more artillery. But if your only artillery is your SSR and I guess a card of mortars, don't fucking run 2 fobs. Yes, the helicopters, yes, the Tiger and such, yes, they are kind of heavy to supply, but like not to run the second fob. And then you start with 2 fobs, and you start with the commandos. That's another 45 points. Commandos, para, and the pirate. You start with that. You know, if you're running a fob, or starting with a fob, let alone 2 fobs. If you're starting with a fob, or let's say less points and potentially less points than your opponent, you're obviously gonna have a hard time in the opener. But if you're doing that, then you might as well wait like 2 minutes or something before you buy your pirate to sneak around, where it doesn't really matter if it arrives at 25 minutes left or 23 minutes left of the game. You know? When does he buy this? How many minutes in? Like 1 minute 40 seconds. You get 105 points per minute, so more or less very soon after he could afford it. I think that's the first unit he actually buys. Yeah, kids, don't run 2 fobs, okay? Don't run 2 fobs. I don't know what I'll play in the next game. I guess you will see. I hope you enjoyed the video, and then hopefully see you next time.